automobiles. And they go, oh, good station. Oh, where'd it go? Where'd that music go? Oh, no.
Where'd Johnny Be Good go? Right.
Dumb talking heads. Is that what I found on this WSBR 740 AM? No, we're not doing Johnny Be Good. That was Johnny Be Good. Right?
It was.
Yeah.
Down in Louisiana and New Orleans.
This is Tommy Be Good here.
Tommy Be Good. That's good.
That's a good Tommy Be Good. Hi, everybody. Tom Trento on another wonderful Florida afternoon, Wednesday, the 17th of December. What do we have? 12 days left. Oh, these are the 12 days. No, 12.
Are we in 12 days
17.
of Christmas?
How many days to Christmas? Eight. Eight days.
We're missing like
Christmas.
4. Yeah.
These numbers. We got a lot of things going on. We're moving into a new studio in about a month. It is going to be very, very cool. We're very excited about it. So we've been running back and forth, making sure that the 50 caliber. Oh, I'm sorry. We're not supposed to mention those. Making sure
the phalanx on top of the roof there.
Yes, so. Making sure the carpeting is in place, and we have to get all the accoutrements also. Yeah. But we're moving. And why are we moving to a larger facility? Simply because
we have to.
We have to move. You got to stay ahead of some of the folks every once in a while. But our new studio, ladies and gentlemen, not only will have the capability that we have right now, bringing to you the audio of the show, but as you know, it's a television show, internet television show. Yeah. Actually, it's a television show. The quality and the level at which we produce this show. It's broadcast quality. And in fact, if you want to watch it on your HD TVs, you can do that. A couple of ways of doing that. Go to our website and you won't figure it out. But we're going to have two studios. We have to do all that stuff. We have two studios. We have one facility, and it has a green screen studio where we trick the human eye into thinking things are what they aren't really. So, like, what do they see behind me right now?
They see a big, huge studio behind us.
That's what they
massive see. Studio, which goes on and on and on and on and on.
But should we let him in on the trick? Kill the magic? Or
you want to kill the magic? You want to kill the magic, Dave?
Will the magic restart for sure?
Yeah.
If we kill the magic, can we resuscitate it immediately?
Huh?
I wouldn't take that bet.
Let's not kill the magic then.
No.
I don't know.
Let's keep the illusion alive.
Let's ask the magic maker. You have the confidence?
Well, yeah. I have the confidence.
All right, we're going to kill the magic right now for all of you driving in your car. Oh, my word.
That's it. All the other stuff
Tom lives in a little green box.
Tom lives in a little green box.
I live in this little green box right here. And over here we have the sun coming up over Montana today.
And this is what all the rest of that stuff around that stuff
and
is
there we go.
Fake.
But
even the desk.
But what we say is not fake. That's the important part. Our content.
It's almost the unfortunate part.
Our content is solid. And we work at the United West, an organization uniting Western civilization. That's those countries grounded and founded upon the Judeo-Christian worldview. We believe a God exists. We believe that He has given men, which includes women, unalienable rights, or is it inalienable rights?
Inalienable.
Yeah. But we know what they mean no matter what.
But now we've given aliens rights.
And unlike the gentleman behind me, Mr. Rex, Mr. King Obama, all things bad, he believes that the rights come from him as the president.
Yes.
And don't believe anything to the contrary, folks. United West is here to defend Western civilization, defend the Constitution, stand with the state of Israel, fight Islamic jihad, and fight President Obama. We believe he's going to be extremely dangerous in the remaining days in office to the traditional conservative principles of the United States of America. Where are those articulated in a nice, easy-to-read format? Google Republican National Committee 2012 platform. Go to the Republican National Committee platform. It's about 20 or 30 pages, actually a bit more, but we want you to get over there and read it.
Unfortunately, our leadership is not following that.
They're not following it. It's the conservative Reagan philosophy articulated on all policy issues, all national security issues, all social issues, all interpersonal issues, financial issues, beautifully. It's a phenomenal document that when you read it, you go, yeah, this is the way I believe. Problem is, you're right, Mark, we don't have the leaders in the Republican Party believing the Republican principles that they wrote. How does that work?
Grover Norquist.
Grover Norquist. Back to everything comes back to Grover and Obama. As you know, folks, we have the hard left headed up by President Obama, and he is not a moderate. Yeah, he's got nice, cute kids and all of that, and he is an ideologue of ideologues. He is trying to transform the United States of America into something less than American, and some would say his recent move to normalize relations with Cuba, which will be in the second part of our show today, is an indication he couldn't care less about Alan Gross and his problems. He saw the Alan Gross situation as a catalyst.
Who's Alan Gross?
Yeah, we're gonna see. He's an individual that got pinched 1,841 days ago and through bringing some technology to the small Jewish community in Cuba. He's Jewish, Alan. He's been working in international business for all of his life. He's worked in the Middle East. He's worked in Gaza. He's worked all over the place. And the Cuban said, oh, he's a spy. He's a Jew. He's a spy. He goes to jail. He's been in jail for 1,800 days. And he was released today. Thank God he's released. He should be released.
Good.
But what we traded for him is going to be very interesting in the days ahead. Second part of our show. First part of our show is the wonderful relationship that President Obama has with the number one national security partner in the Middle East and all of the Asian area, Southeast Asia, Africa, Middle East, that whole clump of dirt over on the ocean. I'll even include Europe. I believe that the country of Israel is a better national security partner than any of the European nations, even
combined.
Britain, because Britain is starting to...
Britain has been totally Islamicized. They've been defanged. We went over the article on Monday, I think it was, where the British came out and restricted their intelligence officers to no shouting, no pounding your fists on desks, walls, or using insulting language. So they might be our partners, but how effective they will be moving forward is very debatable.
How effective? You got a brutal, medieval, archaic, barbarian enemy in their methodology. These people are not dumb. The Taliban and their attack in Pakistan, these are tactical and strategic decisions that very intelligent people make. They know the world will hate them. The world hates them already. But they know they strike fear in the hearts and minds of the Pakistanis, and they achieve their objectives. And we have Britain, on the other hand, saying, well, when we capture one of those people that killed all the kids or was in the planning, when you talk to him, you interrogate
need to kiss him, you need to hug him, you need to stroke his hair.
Tea and crumpets. Don't forget the tea and crumpets.
Now, my one fear, and we have our special guest with us, he can maybe answer this. My one fear is that our dependable national security partner, the State of Israel, and some of their agencies that have struck fear in the hearts of their enemies. You know, the Mossad has been, it has a mystique about it that could reach out and touch anybody, and not quite nicely, not like the British tea and crumpets touch, can reach out and touch anybody, anywhere, anytime. That mystique may be crumbling, and if indeed Israel on the 17th of March 2015 elects a center-left labor government, do you think the Mossad is going to follow in the footsteps of the Brits and of the United States CIA, a gentler, softer, kinder? You're damn straight they will, or maybe not. Let's bring in our expert, Mr. Arie Egozi. Are you there, Arie Egozi?
Yes, I'm here.
There he is.
Hey, Ari.
How are
I'm
you
here.
today?
And today, on my way from Tel Aviv to my house, I learned a few facts, new facts. I'm not sure that you are aware of these facts. I learned that Hitler was a gentleman, I learned that the earth is square, and I learned that Hamas is not a terrorist organization. Have you heard about it?
Oh, wait, we got to take these one at a time, Ari.
right.
You learned that. All right, we have Arie Egozi, and do we have his website up there? Israel's Homeland Security Home. Ari, as you know, is a special friend, national security analyst, expert based in his home country, Israel. Reports back every Wednesday to us, gives us a briefing on what's going on in Israel. And if indeed situations require, we can reach him anytime, day or night, get a report from him. He's involved with an organization, Israel's Homeland Security Home, a website that brings together the various national security components that Israel's dealing with, from conferences to hardware to white papers to intelligence. If you want to understand the national security situation for the nation of Israel, go to Israel's Homeland Security Home. What's the exact URL? Let's put that up so people can go there.
I-HLS.com. I as in igloo -HLS.com. Israel's Homeland Security Home. You got to go there if you're into any of the techie stuff, military, missile defense, cutting edge aviation, unmanned aerial drones, the whole bit. You got to check it out.
Got to check it out at 17 minutes after 4 o'clock. Tom Trento, your host, Enemies of the State. WSBR Radio, 740 on the dial, theunitedwest.org. Internet TV, Tea Party Community, Breitbart TV, teapartycommunity.com. Ari, you said that Adolf Hitler is a gentleman. You just learned this out today. What's that all about?
No, German, he said.
Yes, on my way home, I've learned that the European Court has declared that Hamas is not a terrorist organization. So if that is a fact, Hitler was a gentleman, and the earth is square and not.
Oh, the earth is square. Not round. Okay.
This is amazing. This is amazing. They said that they don't have any hard facts to prove that Hamas is a terror organization. I couldn't believe my ears. And on top of it, the European Parliament today has approved a support of a Palestinian state. So you tell me what's happening in Europe. I don't understand that.
They're
If
going
Hamas
in the
is not a
toilet is what's
terror-
happening.
This is very important, folks. Ari is reporting live on the 17th of December. It's 19 minutes after 4 o'clock here, and he's up very late today. It's 11 o'clock, 19 minutes after 11 for him in Israel. And the European Union, let me get this straight, the European Union, and as we know, maybe 10, 15 years ago, the Europeans, I think there's 23 countries in the European Union, they said, you know what, guys, you know what, Spain, you know what, Italy, you know what, Belgium, you know what, Netherlands, you know what, Portugal, you know what, Germany. If we all got together, we pooled the assets we have, we pooled our economic capability, we pooled our military strength, we could function like a union of states and be bigger and stronger than the United States. So they formed this union, European Union. They came up with common currency. What is the common currency?
The euro.
The euro. You have to go to every country. You have to switch money and all that. They have a euro. Though some countries in the European Union haven't bought into the euro thing.
Britain.
Yeah, Britain keeps their pound.
Because they're still living in the glory days of being the world reserve currency.
In the world, in the days of the empire.
The empire.
Right.
So we got this European Union. Now they formulate that. Then they get, well, we have to have a governing body. So they come up with this totally bogus governing seat that moves to Brussels. And where else? It moves somewhere else. Where's the second city?
Brussels.
Yeah, it goes to a second city, too, though. They moved the seat to another city. I forget which city. Paris probably wanted it, but I'm not sure if we can check out where it moves to the second seat. And then the various countries.
Amsterdam? Is it in Amsterdam? The Hague?
I don't know.
Is it?
But you could actually get elected from your European country to sit on the European Union. and they have their own set of laws, and they're cracking down on hate speech. We would be in
Right.
violation of every European hate speech
Oh.
law.
Oh, we'd be in
Dead.
jail.
You-
We'd be
oh,
dead.
We
in
would be
jail.
you would be the first person
I
put
know.
to death for violating the hate speech
And
law.
they make these absurd pronouncements like somehow they know the truth. And they came out today, Arie Egozi is telling us, and saying that, say it again, Ari, for us. There's no
Hamas,
why.
they don't have enough evidence that Hamas is a terrorist organization. I say again, they don't have hard evidence that the Hamas is a terrorist organization.
Have they not read?
According to them, Hamas is a fundraising. I don't know. I don't
It's amazing.
I don't find the way to describe this stupidity. And now they want Israel to prove them that Hamas is a terrorist organization.
Hey.
That was a decision that was made today by the European courts.
By the court. Oh, the European court in the European Union.
Did they not read the Hamas charter? Israel will exist and continue to exist until Islam will obliterate it. Hamas charter.
Well, let me just tell you something. Killing Jews does not qualify you as terrorist in the EU. If you are only killing Jews and Israelis, you are not a terrorist. You're a hero.
Okay, I see that. I see. Well, the European Union is being Islamized. Yes, Ari, what?
Hamas, every day in the last few weeks, they perform tests of new rockets into the Mediterranean off the Gaza shore. So they are getting ready to help Israel, to love Israel, to caress Israel. Of course, they're not terror organization. They prepare the next round of rocket launching into Israel, and they launch new rockets with bigger warheads. And the Europeans still say that they don't have any evidence that Hamas is a terror organization.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is very, very important. At 23 minutes after 4 o'clock. Look, you're at our radio. You're on our radio show, WSBR 740 AM. You're watching the show. You like the way we run this whole thing. We call it edutainment. We educate with a little bit of entertainment. And for the entertainment for our folks today, who are you right now?
Right now, I am Imam Abdullah.
Okay, we have him. We have a whole bunch of people in here, but we are primarily individuals running a counterterrorism organization to provide actionable information so that the United States pushes back and defeats Islamic Jihad, so that Israel pushes back, defeats Islamic Jihad. This is the core of what we do. And so that the West, the Western countries, Europe, pushes back and defeats Islamic Jihad. Now, we're also astute enough politically, all of us, from Ari to everybody in this room here, to know that this is I need one of you guys to say beep after my first word, okay? In the mode of our good friend Ari, what the European Union just did is bull. We know that.
Yes.
We know that's what just occurred. Hang on one second, Ari.
Another decision,
Hold on.
decision by the European Parliament they declared that they are going to approve a Palestinian state. Two decisions in one day.
Okay, now this is important. Hey, that one, the second decision for all you riding in your car and all of you watching, not only did the European Union and the courts there say, oh, well, we don't know Hamas is a terrorist organization. Not only that, but that put that headline back up. Is that a Breitbart headline?
Yeah.
Palestinians say to press UN vote.
Despite U.S. veto
veto
warning.
Oh. Yeah, the United Nations now is talking about recognizing the Palestinians, even though they've recognized them as a sitting, that's standing, it's some intermediate status.
Yeah.
Observer status.
Observer status.
Right.
But we all know, we're wise enough politically to know that there's a bigger play going on here. Both of these
Right.
things released at the same time. There's some play, and guess what country's in the center of this? What is the play? That's what we have to unravel for our audience. That's teaching. What is the play? Anybody know?
Destroy Israel. I mean, it is the ultimate goal. I mean, it's always been the goal
it's
of
the
Hamas.
ultimate goal, but there has to be. Ari, what do you think? You're sitting in the Tel Aviv area. What has been the response of the Knesset at this point, or the man on the street in Israel?
The men on the streets say that the Europeans can say whatever they want. We don't give a beep. Because I think that Prime Minister Netanyahu was clear about that last night. He said, "You can decide whatever you want. We will keep the safety of Israel. We will do whatever it takes to protect our citizens, and you can do whatever you want." But these steps by Europe, I think that they originate from fear. They simply fear the extreme Islam in their countries, and they want to be friends with the extreme Islamists. Look at what's happened this week in Australia with that guy from Iran,
Right.
who took hostages in the cafe. The Prime Minister said after it was over that they don't have any problem with the other Muslims in Australia. We are friends. We are buddies. Of course they have a problem. They have a big problem, but they don't know how to cope with it. Of course. He had a gun with a license. He was under surveillance by the Australian intelligence organization for years, and he still had a gun, a rifle with an official license. Can you tell me how such a thing can happen?
Yep.
It's crazy. These people in Australia, in Europe, they don't understand, or they don't want to understand the problem that they're facing.
No, and later in our show, after we have to let Ari go in a little bit, later on, we're going to lay out, folks, the 7 phases of originally Al-Qaeda, now it's the Islamic State, the 7-phase development over a 20-year period.
Right.
And we'll show you how the failures in Australia, the failures in the EU, European Union, and the failures at the United Nations are fitting in perfectly with the plan of the enemy to indeed conquer the West. It sounds bizarre, but I think Ari's right. You go to
Yep.
England, and they think appeasement, notwithstanding Neville Chamberlain, 42 or
Yeah, it's in
so.
their DNA or something. I really don't get it.
When you appease the enemy, particularly this enemy, takes a bigger piece of you. When you give him a piece of you, he takes a bigger.
That's why Land
piece
for
of you.
Peace did not work in
It doesn't
Israel
make
with the
sense.
Gaza Strip, and it will not work anywhere in all of
But
Israel.
Ari just said that Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister, basically said, "Screw you" to the European Union. That's fine, but now the European Union is going to marginalize Israel more and more and more. Thus, the need for our Israel security project more and more.
And here's how they do it. Actually, the rationale that the European Union gave for taking Hamas off lists was just truly insane. Listen to what this is.
What they
It says,
say, yeah, I'm curious.
They said the Court of the European Union said contested measures were not based, talking about the contested measures of Hamas, okay, on examination of Hamas's acts examined and confirmed in decisions of competent authorities. They said we had to have someone who's competent in the decision-making to determine if Hamas is a terrorist organization. So they have to choose a competent authority to determine if Hamas. So what does that mean? Oh, a Muslim? Or
Why don't they just
Islamist?
call Ari then? They should. Ari,
I mean,
did
it
you give him your number?
Does it take rocket science to see someone is launching missiles at someone else to civilians? Does it take an expert to read Israel will exist, continue to exist till Islam will obliterate it in their constitution? Does it take a competent authority to understand that?
Didn't they commit terrorism on Fatah last week or 2 weeks ago when they blew up about 10 Fatah members in the Gaza Strip's homes because they didn't want to mark the anniversary of Arafat?
Does it take a competent authority to watch Hamas TV where they're teaching children to commit genocide on little Jewish people, on babies and everybody else,
We're
doesn't
not
take a
all
competent
little.
authority.
We're not all little people.
No, little Jewish babies and everything, all
right.
throughout the thing. Does it take a competent authority to figure any of this thing out? You stupid EU.
And there we have it from J. Mark Campbell. Right? Beep, beep,
Well, I
beep,
mean, it's
beep.
just insane. It's completely insane.
That's why this is stuff, you get aggravated at this stuff, but that's why there's a bigger play here. The presentation at the front is so completely absurd, as you just passionately explained, Mark, that there's a bigger play. And we're going to have to look into this. We'll bring it to you folks 31 minutes after 4 o'clock, but I got one last question before we let Ari go. Ari, we are reading in the papers and the studies here that if the election that's going to be held on the 17th of March,
In March 17th.
2015 in Israel were held today, your center-left Labor Party would win. Let's assume that happens. The center-left Labor Party wins.
Yeah.
What are the number one and number two implications for Israel if that happens?
Nothing will change because even if the Labour Party is in power, they will not give back an inch from Judea and Samaria because there's no one to talk to. It's nice on the propaganda to say we will reignite the peace process. We will continue to talk with the Palestinians, but in their heart, they know the fact. They know that there's no partner at the other side. So if they win, everything will be the same. Everything will be the same. If you win with our enemies, the Hamas will still be an enemy, the Fatah will still be an enemy, and Iran will still be an enemy. Nothing will change. So the people can go back and forth, and you, Bougie Herzog, can be elected if there's a big surprise in the election, the coming election in March. But nothing basic will change because the problems are so clear cut. You can use twisted words to try and explain, but the facts are there. They all want to exterminate Israel, to throw us in the sea. And I don't see any prime minister give back an inch from Judea and Samaria who will make peace with the Palestinians because there's no partner there.
Your connection's breaking up a little bit. You got more faith than I do in
Yes.
in human nature because we have just gone through 6 years here where Obama comes in. He never voted in the Senate when he was there. He's a nitwit. I mean,
Empty suit.
Yeah, what kind of damage is he's going to cause? This guy has damaged this country immensely.
Almost
And I know there's a little different situation with the Israeli situation, more nationalistic, all of that. But I hope you're right. I hope and pray you're right. But I fear you may not be. Damon, before we let Ari go, you have one question.
Actually, I had a question. This is Schmucky Putznik.
Oh, Schmucky. Oh,
And
okay.
I had a question. If they are going to unilaterally declare a state, let's unilaterally take back the Temple Mount and let the Jews pray.
Schmucky. Ever since he voted Republican, Schmucky's been like
you
he's
vote Republican and you're praying now.
praying
That's
now.
pretty
Now you want
good.
to take back the Temple Mount. Man, you were off on a roll, Schmucky.
I don't know if our audience knows it. I do not know if our audience knows it. You're driving in your automobiles in South Florida. You're watching somewhere 35 minutes after 4 o'clock East Coast time on the 17th of December. Tom Trento here, Enemies of the State, WSBR 740. I don't know if you know this, but if you're a Jewish person, this is so stupid. And you go up to the Temple Mount, the mountain where your temple is. 2 temples. If you go up there, you're not allowed. You
can't pray.
You can't do this. Your lips cannot move. You're violating the law. Your lips like that move.
In a prayer.
What the hell is wrong with these people?
No,
Ari, what's the matter
You talk
with
about
these people?
You talk about discrimination. I mean, seriously, they were watching me coming up there, and there people coming up there. They're looking at me, see if your lips are moving, see if you're praying, see if you get down on your knees.
They
or
just thought you were eating.
yeah, they thought I was eating. That's true.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Ari, take 30 seconds. Leave us with your thought for this week in Israel. Hey, it's Hanukkah, by the way.
Happy Hanukkah.
Thank you very much.
Send us your gifts.
Just like
Or is it the other way
the
around?
second candle, we ate the special kind of donuts that we have for Hanukkah. It's fattening, but it's very, very tasty. The next few months will be very interesting because of the coming elections. And there's one point I wanted to make. After a Palestinian boy was shot when he tried to stab an Israeli soldier, Abu Mazen threatened to stop the security coordination with Israel. This didn't happen. We knew that it wouldn't happen, because if that would have happened, Abu Mazen would be out of his office dead, because Israel helps him to stay in power in Ramallah. So they can do what they can, talk and talk and talk. They know the facts. Without the Israeli help in what is called the security cooperation, the Hamas would kill him in a day or two. And so there are the declarations for the press, and there is the reality. And we are trying to show the reality as it is.
Wait a second. But Hamas is not a terrorist organization, but you're insinuating that they would kill the president of the authority.
They are the Bolshevik ballet, yes, of course.
He got one in.
Did he get one?
He got one in. He missed it. We're going to beep you. Yeah, we
beep you. Station will beep you.
They're preparing a big show with rockets as a part of the show, yeah.
All right, well, we wish we had a little more time with you. We got to let you go. You know, the Hamas shooting rockets. I mean, are you allowed to shoot rockets, off your coast?
Well, if you're not a terrorist organization, you're
Hey, Ari, we got to let you go. Happy Hanukkah for sure. We'll see you next week.
Thank you very much. See you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Right, take care.
Shalom.
Shalom. And
Shalom.
if anything happens that we need on-the-ground people, we have Ari over there. We have actually a bunch of people over there that can be very, very helpful. That's the absurdity of this situation at 38 minutes after 4 o'clock. And why is it important to you? The average Floridian driving in your car, the average American listening on iHeartRadio, the average human being watching somewhere on the internet.
I don't know. Is genocide of Jews a concern to anybody? Did that ever happen in the past where it's a big deal in the Jewish community? Oh, yeah. How about World War II?
Here's the problem. People, and it's human nature. I mean, you don't get interested in stuff unless there's some sort of self-preservation or self-interest in it.
Yeah.
Our job is to make the connection from these geopolitical things happening a world away to your backyard, America. That's what we're talking about. Islam is united in the Ummah, U-M-M-A, Ummah, family. Muslims do not see borders. The world is borderless. And if indeed they're in a country that has a border, it's a temporary border, as their Quran, as their history teaches. Their obligation through the hijrah, the term to move out and conquer other lands, their obligation is to move borders, to make the world borderless through the conquest of Islam globally. And the way they do that is they conquest areas locally. Oh, how could Islam do that? It's only done that twice before since its inception in the late 6th century. It's only done it twice, and it's well on its way to do that again. Well, how could Islam conquer the world? It only needs to control certain aspects of the world to influence the world in its direction. Nowadays, to conquer another country or so, you don't have to subjugate the country and have everybody slaves. You just have to have enough X factor to influence those countries, like the EU right now, to do your bidding. And slowly, that which was the West changes to be that which is Islam. And that's what's happening right before our eyes. Now, some people say, well, that's the way the world is and everything evolves and we'll just have to put up with it. And they're really nice people. You know, they're just cutting off a few heads now. I know a Muslim neighbor and my doctor's a Muslim. We're not talking about the nice Muslims occupying places in the United States. We're talking about a global movement that will take that nice doctor and make him de facto an enemy as that's occurring in other countries right now where the Islamization of these countries has indeed been initiated.
But listen, it is happening here. We do have these same ideological movements spawning here, and we saw it during Operation Protective Edge over the summer in every big city in this country. You had Al-Awda, the Palestinian Right to Return Coalition.
A lot of professionals in that organization.
Okay, the Al-Awda Palestinian Right to Return Coalition.
Wait, Right to Return Coalition. You said that very quickly. What does that mean? Tell our
That
viewers.
means they believe in a one-state solution, not the ridiculous two-state solution that J Street and all the liberal Jews and
I want to define for our audience right to return, because you hear that a
Yes.
lot, and those of us that do this work understand what that means. But you're going, what right to return? What does that mean?
That means that all the Palestinians that left their homes in Judea and Samaria in 1948, when the Arab invading armies went to squash
6 of them.
went to squash the
So the Arabs. So on the 15th of May, 1948, the
Egyptians,
state,
Syrians,
the state of
Jordanians.
Israel was recognized,
Yes, at the United Nations,
The
the last
United
good thing they
Nations.
did, probably.
and 6 nations said, "Oh no." That day, they initiated a war against Israel. The
Yes.
day of Israel. Okay, what are the 6 nations? Do we remember?
Jordan,
Jordan,
Syria,
Iraq,
Egypt,
Egypt.
Iraq,
Lebanon.
Lebanon. Who's the 6th one? Was it Iran? I don't know if Iran was in on.
I don't know if the
Well,
Iran.
right to return.
All right, now
I'll remember it.
the war happened. The Israelis start fighting back with pitchforks and BB guns.
Understanding
basically.
they were just formed. The nation was just formed. They do not have an army. They do not have a. They don't even have a formal army. They have nothing. They have
Nothing.
zero.
But they had to fight back just for self-preservation. And then a war broke out. And in that war that broke out, the Arabs that were living in parts of the war-torn area said, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
Well, no, actually, they were warned by the Arab armies. They were warned ahead of time. Just like Israel warns the Arabs now when they're going to attack a missile or a rocket base, say, we don't want you to die, we don't want to hurt you, but we got to blow the stuff up before it hurts our civilians. Well, the Arab armies at the time also told the Arab Israelis.
They initiated the action.
Yes, they said,
Then they-
okay, all you Muslim Arabs, get out of Judea, Samaria. We're going to go kill the Jews. When we're done killing the Jews, you could go back to your homes.
It will be paradise.
and it'll
You could
be
all come
and
back.
everything will be fantastic.
Jew-free Israel. That's what the goal was, to throw the Jews into the sea. This is before the charter was written. Okay, so that war broke out. And
Okay.
And so now you had all these Muslim Arabs that were living in Palestinian mandate or British mandate, and
Different parts of
And when
Israel.
they were told that they were told after the Jews were dead, you could go back to your homes. Well, guess what? The Jews won.
Oh, wait a minute. The guys that told all their people to leave because they were going to slaughter the Jews and they didn't want to have to worry about killing Muslims, those guys lost the war.
Correctamundo.
Oh, but then they attacked again in 1956.
Well, hold on. I'm going to give you that
Right,
list
go
of
ahead,
combatants
go ahead.
real quick because
Yeah.
it's
So
quite interesting.
Palestinian
Wait.
This is
The
important. Go ahead.
list of combatants is Egypt, major players: Egypt, Syria, Jordan, Iraq, Lebanon, supported by Algeria, Kuwait, Libya, Morocco, Pakistan, PLO, Saudi Arabia, Sudan, and Tunisia. What do all those little countries have in
So
common?
5 major players, and then
And-
about 5 or 6
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 supporting players.
providing arms, intelligence,
Intelligence
all
and-
of this sort of stuff,
Right.
flyover space, whatever's
Everything.
necessary. So 9 of 5 is 14 countries.
All happen to be
Muslim.
Muslim
countries.
countries.
Wait a minute. 14 Muslim countries at 44 minutes after 4 o'clock
14.
attack Israel on May 14th, 1948, the first day of Israel's existence, and tell their Muslim counterparts, get out of Dodge. We're going to kill and destroy all the Jews in Israel. Once we clean the land of Jews, wipe them to the sea, from the river to the sea, the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea, everybody can come back home. It's going to be paradise. That was the plan.
Yes, that was the plan. So now what you have is generations and generations later.
Wait. Before you jump to that, we're still in 1948. They didn't win that war.
No.
Did they come back?
Yes.
Did
Yom
the
Kippur
Muslims come back?
Yes.
Some came
Some
back.
came back. Some lost their homes.
Some lost their homes.
Listen. That's part of war.
You lost the war.
Did we give Texas back to Mexico?
Did we get?
You lost the war. You don't get your stuff back when you lose
It's
the
called
war.
Unconditional surrender.
Then they
we
attack-
make the conditions.
Then they attack again, 1956. Then they attack again, 1963. Then they attack again, 1967.
67.
Then they attack
73.
again, 1973.
And then
they get their
every
butts
year, then
kicked
there's
in.
an intifada every so often.
Okay.
And they get their butts kicked
They got
every
their
time.
butts kicked every single time.
Then claim victory.
They claim, we won that war. We won another
Like
war.
Hamas. Hamas has no electricity, practically. Every street looks like rubble. And then earlier on Sunday, Hamas is having parades, victory parades, celebrating their 27th anniversary through mountains of rubble that they caused themselves. And they shot their own power stations out with missiles that were supposed to hit Israeli civilians.
Look, folks, we never said this makes sense, okay?
Right.
We're dealing with an insane, senseless situation. But those of us who make sense have to deconstruct this so that we don't make foolish decisions in the future. Now, all the people that were displaced because they initiated a war, they lost, they can't come back, right? They're not allowed to come
You
back.
would think.
Now,
Unless the victors were Jewish.
now they claim a right to return.
What
And I realize they
What
also
right?
refer to the formation of Israel and the Arab loss of the War of 48 as the Nakba, meaning the tragedy. So they view the formation of Israel as a tragedy across the whole Arab Muslim world.
So, all right, just a little update for all you listeners out there. When your college students come back from college and says, "Where were you at today, son, daughter?" Well, I was at a Nakba celebration.
Yep.
Which means the tragedy celebration, the formation of Israel, which happens on all the college campuses throughout Nakba. That sounds like a nice little Muslim thing. No, it is the formation
It's Jew
of
hatred
Jew hatred.
personified.
Plain
It
and
is
simple.
it would mean the annihilation of Israel as a Jewish state. Period. It would be over. The flag would
It
have
would be
to
over.
change.
I want to get back to the right of return because this is one of the conditions for peace that the Israelis are obstructing. All the Muslims that lost all these wars, got their ass kicked, and lost the territory. They now demand a right to return to where they used to live.
And even Americans right here that were born here go in the streets.
Hang on, now we're going to make it even more absurd.
Yeah.
So you got people in 1948 that were, say, 20 years old. You're the mathematician, Damon. How old was a guy who was 20 years old in 1948? How old is he today?
72 and 14. So he was 86.
He's 86 years old. He has kids who are in their 50s or 60s. They have kids.
Right.
They have
we're-
great-grandkids.
We're 3 or 4
Four
generations
generations.
moved. Now, are any of those Muslims,
Actually, there's 6 generations
Who were-
have cards.
any of those Muslims that were born, let's say yesterday, no, let's say they're in college now. They're 18 years old. They were born in Idaho.
Right.
They've been living there all their life, their whole family. Are they claiming a right?
They're Palestinian refugees.
They're Palestinian.
According to the United Nations, they are Palestinian refugees.
Okay.
A refu-
The imam
6
at the Oklahoma
generations.
City Mosque of the beheader.
Right.
Okay? We did research on him. The guy's been here since he was 6 years old. In his bio, he refers to himself as a third-generation Palestinian
Third
refugee.
generation Palestinian refugee.
In the streets of Fort Lauderdale, New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, everywhere this summer, this group, Al-Aura, Palestinian Right to Return Coalition, was in the middle of it, chanting genocidal psalms about Jews and Israelis. And they are insistent. The Palestinian Right to Return Coalition. Forward, together, until return. That's it.
That's it. That's the main thing on the
until
website.
Return.
The big header on their website, that's what it says.
Put it up.
And you know,
Yeah,
put it up.
I'm sorry, here, we'll put it
And you
up.
know what?
Here it is. Well,
The
I don't like giving
dopey-
these. I don't
the
like
guy-
ever giving these.
The
clowns
guy behind me.
advertising.
What happened to the guy behind me? The guy behind me,
Oh, here.
President Rex, President King. He believes this crap, ladies and gentlemen. He believes in the right to return, that these people have an inherent right in their land, even though they lost a war, even though it wasn't their land.
Right there, Palestinians' Right to Return Coalition.
Right to Return Coalition. And, 2-3 generations removed, these are Palestinian refugees. This president, this administration pushes this nonsense. You have NGOs, non-government organizations that are bleeding heart, leftist organizations. Oh, these people need to go back to... By now, there's millions and millions and millions.
Over 6 million people claiming to be refugees. There were, 400,000 possibly originally? And no one wants to talk about all the Jews that were expelled from the entire Middle East. And
Hold on.
Now, let's do the math. Of those 14 countries that participated in the attack on day one, May 14th, 1948, those 14 countries, how many Jews since then have had to leave those countries? How many kids have they had? Do that math. And these are Jewish refugees to those countries. They wouldn't even let them back in those countries.
Yeah.
But look at the absurdity. Look at the absurdity of doing this sort of math. There's 400,000 people that left because they initiated a war and lost. Now that number has grown to 6 million. What is the real story behind this? Why is the United Nations pushing a right to return? Israel has 7 million citizens, about 8 million. 1 million are non-Israeli, 7 million are Israelis. Can you imagine 4 or 5 million Muslims getting a right to return to Israel? Here's where they try to beat up Israel about being a non-democratic state. All these 4, 5, 6 million voting Muslims should be allowed to return to Israel. One person, one vote. Let's have a democracy. What do you think would happen to Israel if all the former enemies came back and had a right to vote?
Well, especially
with the right to
in their
return?
crazy political system, because if you get 3 people together, you get like a seat in the
Not only
Knesset.
It would be the end of Israel.
It would be the
You
end
don't
of
even have
Israel.
to.
It's
Let's
so
just
stupid.
save
Yeah.
the argument. It would be the end of Israel. That's it.
That's right.
Well, what's
56 members in the OIC, 27, I think, in the Arab League. There can't be one Jewish country in the whole world?
yeah, it's a good point. The argument, the moral argument and the political argument, obviously, the logical arguments as to why you can't allow the right to return is they lost all these wars and they don't get to return. They don't get those rights. You lose rights when you try to kill a person. He doesn't restore your rights so you can kill them.
Not
a
just
different
kill
way.
them, you want to exterminate them. When your whole philosophy, your whole ideology, your whole basis of belief, since you were 3 years old, since you first learned how to speak Arabic, is kill Jews.
And you know what? We're on
So let them back in.
We're on the second day of Hanukkah. And yesterday on the first day, go watch that show. We called it Hanukkah and Death Camps. Goes together, believe me. The second day, the story of Hanukkah, where the Maccabees were fed up with the invaders there defiling the temple, which the Jews still can't get on their temple. What's the deal with that? But the Maccabees said, no, we're not going to do this. We're going to fight these guys. And right now, Israel said, sorry, we're going to fight these guys. And you heard Arie Egozi, an Israeli IDF reservist now, saying, even if the left gets in, and again, he's got a little more hope than I think I do, we ain't giving in this time. You heard Ari tell us that Benjamin Netanyahu said, essentially, our words, screw the EU and the UN. It's got to be a nice acronym with EU, UN. Screw those guys. We're here. We've done tremendous stuff. We've helped the world. If you want to be a Muslim with rights in the Middle East, guess which country you have to live in? Anybody
Israel.
figure that out? You don't have rights in Saudi Arabia. Women can't drive. Can a woman Muslim drive in Israel?
Can
Yes.
anyone other than a non-Muslim go to the Mecca or Medina?
No.
Why not?
Apartheid.
It's apartheid. They actually have roads. It's like white only, black only
It
roads.
is. Muslim only.
Non-Muslim. It's complete
Oh,
segregation.
It doesn't count for those guys.
Oh, but how about what the Palestinian, quote, leadership, because I say that jokingly, That they say clearly there will be not one Jew left in the new Palestinian state. What if Israel were to say there will be no Muslims in Israel? What would the world do?
No, these arguments need to be made, and
Now,
we will make them.
everybody thinks we're crazy when we say this stuff, but once again, I'll just right here, real quick, right on their website, the Palestinian right to return. That is their motto, with George Galloway.
Now, we know that this organization raises a lot of loot. So this is a cottage industry.
Yes.
To keep this thing going, this right to return, it's so specious, it's so comical. But you know what? If you can raise money on it and make a lot of noise,
That's what CARE does. CARE's doing the same
exact
damn thing.
Why do you think it was?
We
I'm sorry.
are here, ladies and gentlemen, to expose all of this nonsense and to simply say, doesn't even matter what you think about the Middle East and all stuff. What matters, minimally. Now, we integrate our national security position for the United States in a comprehensive manner on many levels, humane levels, geopolitical, military, business, financial, necessary relationship with Israel. But if you don't even want to deal with all that, for your own personal security here in the United States, so that we don't become a banana republic with a bunch of jihadis shooting kids in schools, you got to stand with Israel. These
Yes.
are the two countries that are fighting the bad guys on the front lines. And we're going to argue over the next 2 years, next 692 days, that we need to repair the damage that President Obama has done in his relationship with Israel. We're going to argue that we need to raise an army of Zionists, not a bad term, it's a great term, simply a person that believes that the land of Israel was given to the Jews by God. We believe in God here at the United West. And we believe that Jerusalem is the eternal capital of Israel, not of East Jerusalem, of Jordan.
A united
Yeah.
Jerusalem, like was spoke about at Temple last night.
Yeah, exactly. This is what the arguments are. And we believe the best protection and security for the United States is to follow through on these principles. And we're working over the next 2 years, our program, the Israel Security Project, to make this happen politically and experientially. We need activists who want to join with us, both countries, Israel here, and the other country too. You're welcome.
Canada, Britain.
Anybody's welcome. We
Australia.
we are creating a movement to stand against, put up the, the right to return folks.
These guys.
Those guys, the Al-Ada guys, the right to return. We're standing against that. We're standing against Israel Apartheid Week on the campuses in the United States of America. We're going to stand against
The bogus EU.
Unlimited, the EU, the UN, the Christian churches that are now doing this Christ at the gate or whatever in Bethlehem, the leftist churches in America
That have joined the BDS movement.
the diversement and what, Mark?
And you don't think this affects you? Al-Ada, CARE, all these groups, they all form together and come to do rallies in your street, infect your politicians, infect your school boards, infect your local levels, to the point where they're on the street corners screaming, "We are Hamas, we are jihad," in plain view, open public. Anybody with a camera can videotape
Picture
them,
of 'em, yep.
which we did, which we put up on video for everybody to see. These types of groups are all in league together
And let me-
to do one thing:
Now, 1 minute.
to destroy Israel, to wipe out Jews, to be a mass destruction like Hitler of genocidal actions towards
You
Jews.
just raised a fascinating point. I mean, the leftists say, "Oh, we're on the side of the underdog." You raised a good point before. They got 57 countries. The Jews have no countries. 1.3 billion Muslims.
1.5.
There's a 15, 20, 16.
It's 100 to 1.
17 million Jews in the world. Any leftist who's a bleeding heart liberal, you have to be on the side of Israel. They're the underdog in the world. That's
Yes.
one of the reasons why we do what we do. And on this Hanukkah, let me close it right now. We're a little impassioned today, but that's okay, because it's a very impassioned issue, very important issue. On the second day of Hanukkah, we challenge every person with the blood of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in your veins to look at the importance of a united Israel, a united Jerusalem. Forget this two-state nonsense. It's two-state destruction. Join with us, our Israel Security Project. Contact me, Tom, at theunitedwest.org, and we will rock and roll over the next 692 days.
Little Johnny be
That was
good.
on cue. Hey, didn't even plan that. Good. See you tomorrow.